4 signs you should move on from a guy. Hey there, ladies. Ever drawn in by a dazzling smile or flirtatious wink? I know how captivating men can be with just those simple gestures, but beyond the charm, how do you truly tell if he's worth the emotional investment or if you're merely burning minutes on a ticking clock? Now, I know, relationships can be tricky, right? Sometimes you're on cloud 9, and on other times you're left scratching your head wondering if you're on the right track. We've all been there. But there are some clear signs that might suggest you're putting your energy into a relationship that's not really serving you. And in this video, I'm going to share the 4 undeniable signs that indicate you're wasting your time, and it might be time to move on from that guy. So without wasting any time, let's get started from number 1. Number 1, your interactions leave you unsatisfied. Imagine chatting with a close friend over a cup of coffee where every sentence, every story, every laugh just flows effortlessly. That's the kind of communication we all deserve in our relationships. Not just friendly chit-chat, but soul-nourishing conversation that makes you feel seen, heard, and valued. Now, think about your recent talks with your guy. Do they feel more like you're both skimming the surface, never really diving deep? Or perhaps you've tried going deep, sharing a story, a dream, or a fear, only to feel like it fell on deaf ears? It's one thing to occasionally miscommunicate. Like, we're all human, right? But it's another thing when every interaction leaves you feeling like you've just run a marathon, grasping for clarity and understanding. You know that exhausted feeling after a long day when all you want to do is dive into your bed? That's how it feels, doesn't it? Except instead of a long day, it's just a single conversation with him. Remember that time you told him about your challenging day at work, hoping he'd offer some comfort, but all he did was change the topic or made it about him? Or those moments when you ask him a simple question, hoping for transparency, and he dodges it or gives vague answers? These are clear signs that the communication isn't hitting the mark and you are wasting your time. In any relationship, the essence of communication is to feel closer, more connected. It's not about talking for the sake of it. It's about feeling like you're on the same team, facing challenges together, dreaming together. And it's also about the little things, like when you mention your favorite ice cream flavor in passing and he remembers it weeks later. That's when you know he's not just hearing, but actually listening. But if you're constantly feeling like you're talking to a wall or every conversation feels like a puzzle you're desperately trying to piece together, that's the problem. Deep down, I think you know it too, because you deserve a connection that feels effortless, where you don't have to overanalyze every word or doubt yourself. Trust that gut feeling. If the chats leave you drained, it might not get easier down the line. So, take a step back, evaluate, and always prioritize what feels right for you. Everyone deserves to be in a relationship where they truly feel heard and understood. And if not, then you should definitely move on from that guy. Number 2, you can't express your feelings. To understand this sign, let's just imagine something. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a serene lake. You have a stone in your hand, and you want to skim it across the water, letting it touch the surface, bounce, and then repeat. That stone represents your feelings. The act of skimming, that's expressing them. And the lake, that's the person you're trying to connect with. Now, when you're with someone emotionally available and mature, your feelings glide smoothly, touching the surface, being acknowledged, and then bouncing back with understanding. But when you're with someone who doesn't allow you to express yourself, it's like trying to skim that stone across thick, unyielding mud. It just gets stuck, and there's no return of understanding, no resonance. It's very important in any relationship to feel like you can be your true self. That includes sharing those deep emotions, fears, joys, and even those random thoughts that pop into your head at 2 a.m. If you're constantly biting your tongue, afraid that you might say too much, or that he might not get it, then there's a significant imbalance. Now, one of my acquaintances has been in the same situation. She opened up to her guy about her mom being ill, a tough, heart-wrenching period for her, and all she wanted was a shoulder to lean on, someone to just listen to her. But instead, the guy she was seeing responded with, "I'm not that good at talking about that kind of stuff." That's a massive red flag. It's like saying, "I'm not ready or willing to handle real-life emotions." Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, sure, but when life gets real, which it always does, you want someone who won't shy away from the deep stuff, who won't put up walls when you need them to be your fortress. So if you're constantly feeling like you have to hold back a part of yourself, like you can't truly show them your soul with all its raw emotions, then that's a problem. Emotional connection is just as important as any other aspect of a relationship. You deserve emotional support every step of the way. So if he's not up for that, well, it might be time to run. Number 3, you are in a relationship limbo. Next sign that you should move on from a guy is relationship limbo. To understand this, let's imagine for a moment that you're trapped in a vast, confusing maze. Every turn leads to a dead end or brings you back to where you started. That feeling of endless circling, hope followed by disappointment, is what it's like being in a relationship where you're constantly in limbo. Exhausting, isn't it? Relationships have ups and downs, which is normal, but when the very foundation of where you stand is shaky, when you're persistently second-guessing every gesture, every word exchanged, or lack thereof, you need to ask, is this genuinely healthy for me? Being in a constant state of uncertainty can be mentally and emotionally taxing, and over time, it chips away at your self-worth and happiness. See, here's the thing about genuine love and commitment. It's transparent, it's intentional, and it ensures both parties are on the same page. It doesn't thrive on mixed signals or vague commitments. If your guy truly values and loves you, he'll take active steps to ensure you're never left questioning your place in their life. Remember the acquaintances I mentioned earlier in the previous sign? As the weeks went on, their lunchtime chats became therapy sessions filled with her frustrations and confusion about her situationship. She was in limbo, and it was draining her. It's almost like waiting for a train at a station, not knowing if it'll ever come. You're there hoping, waiting, while life moves on around you. I want to emphasize this, and it's crucial. Genuine connections are not riddles you have to decode. They're not mysteries that leave you in perpetual wonder. So if you find yourself constantly seeking signs, reading between the lines, or feeling like you're navigating a tricky labyrinth, you need to pause and reevaluate. You deserve straightforwardness. You deserve a relationship where there's mutual respect, understanding, and clear intentions. Relationships are meant to uplift you, provide support, warmth, and love. They shouldn't be endless puzzles or emotional roller coasters. If you're caught in this maze of limbo, it might be a sign to take a step back and assess if you're on the journey you genuinely want to be on. After all, you deserve clarity and peace, not endless loops of uncertainty. Number 4, you are uncertain about the future. This sign is often overlooked by many women. When you envision your future, what does it look like? And more importantly, is there room in that vision for him? Is there room in his for you? Imagine you're building a home. You wouldn't lay the first brick without a blueprint, right? Similarly, in relationships, it's essential to know if you both have a blueprint that looks even remotely similar. If one person envisions a sprawling city mansion while the other dreams of a secluded countryside cottage, there's a mismatch that could lead to foundational issues down the line. Now, I've seen this play out multiple times. A buddy of mine was dating this fantastic girl. They were great together, but when it came to discussing their future, it was like they were speaking different languages. He dreamed of traveling the world, experiencing new cultures, and living abroad. She, on the other hand, was keen on settling down, building a family, and living close to her parents. Neither was wrong in their desires, but they weren't aligned. Their relationship, though full of love, was riddled with this undercurrent of uncertainty, and it took a toll on them. That's why it's important to be aligned in your future goals and aspirations. So if you're planning a life journey, ensure your guy has the same destination in mind, or at the very least, ensure you're both willing to make the necessary compromises to chart a shared path. It's okay if the path diverges at times. After all, individual growth is just as vital, but at the heart of it, there should be a shared direction. And yes, I understand that it's painful to consider parting ways, especially when you've poured so much emotion and energy into the relationship. But here's the thing, holding on to something misaligned is like holding a broken compass. It might make you feel secure, but it won't guide you to your desired destination. The right man will never keep you in suspense or uncertainty about the future. He'll make plans with you, not without you, because real, genuine connections mean crafting a shared vision of tomorrow hand in hand. So in short, if you don't have any ideas about where your future is going on with him, then it's the sign that you should move on from a guy. And ladies, that's the 4 signs through which you can know that whether you're wasting your time with a guy or not. If you find yourself relating to these signs, take a step back, assess, and make decisions that prioritize your well-being and happiness. Life's too short to spend in ambiguity or dissatisfaction. You deserve a love story where you're not just a chapter, but the entire book. So trust your journey, trust the signs, and above all, trust yourself. Until next time, take care and choose wisely. Thanks for watching.